that being said, Fantasy, I think, is a very fast-paced player.
Absolutely.
And I'm interested to see what he's adopted as things that he feels he enjoys and is comfortable with in this meta. And there he goes. He's jamming out again. Is the hanger around?
So let's take a look at their decks and bans real quick. So Fantasy looks like he's playing straight meta, Rune, Dragon, Shadowcraft, and then Leca has opted to bring Havencraft as opposed to bringing Runecraft today, maybe
Very
favoring the
interesting.
consistency.
And what the thing that's been going around? Oh, there we go. He has the Heavenly Knight, and we've been talking about these decks here with Summit Temple.
That's right. Summit Temple. Why is Summit Temple good, you may ask? 2 reasons. 1, Sacred Plea's out of the format. So having more 1-drops and more things to do actively with your play points, always a good thing. Second reason, look at the followers in hand for Leca right now. He's got 1-3s, 1-2s, and a 3-5 coming out of that Gemstone Carapace. All work well with it. Heavenly Knight, of course, top tier with it. You play it, you've got a 7 damage attacker on turn 7 with the Summit Temple. Storm, yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
The guy packs a punch. Up against Dragoncraft here, and here we see the Isla played not on an evolution turn, and Fantasy is on the play.
That was a gross draw, by the way. That was an insane draw. Now he can play some. I'm sorry to interrupt you there. That draw, like Summit Temple. Speaking of which, Gemstone Carapace, if you guys don't know, is a 2 countdown amulet that puts out a 3/5. But if you use an evolution, and Snow White gets to cheat without actually using one of your evolution orbs, you get to reduce that countdown by 1. So this is a crazy
Snow White
tempo
doing 2.
play.
Oh my!
Wiping the board and staying alive.
Oh my gosh! Snow White. Oh gosh, that snow is getting real dirty.
Yeah.
That's looking real gross.
Yeah, dirtier than Dirt Rune. Okay, that's what I'm talking about here, guys. All right, you want more consistent early game than Dirt Rune, and you still want a deck that packs a punch at the end game. Havencraft might be a new deck you want to pick up.
On the draw. Oh, you're just passing too. Oh God! And now you got the turtle. You got the boy. Look at look at him, 3/5. That means he's doing 5 damage.
Yeah, that's 5 damage unadulterated if there is no answer from Fantasy here. Fantasy does have the Sybils, so he is able to have big followers that he can evolve into followers. So he's not out of it.
I mean, if you evolve the turtle, now the Sybil just falls to the turtle.
See, this is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
How do you play into the metagame? I know that Dragoncraft can only produce a follower that has up to 6 power this turn. How do I beat that? 7 defense.
Yeah, and that means that 7 defense with Summon's Temple transfers that over to damage.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Leca is feeling great. There it is. Still going through with the play. I don't know if there's many more options that you can even go for. Oh, no, he does do 5 because it's on your turn.
This is the best way to mitigate damage. This is how you play around Summit Temple. Summit Temple, the way it works, only works when you are the attacking player. So as the defender, you have the option to actually running into your opponent's followers and not getting full damage dealt. So this is the way to do it. However, Havencraft, if it can eke up to like turn 7 or so, there is a new John card that heals your entire board. So got to be careful.
So what's interesting now is he's only doing 2 damage and 1 damage here instead of 5 and 2.
Right.
Which is a side effect of Summit Temple. Right. You don't get to choose. You don't get to pick and choose.
But this is a perfect showcase, guys. If you don't know how to play against Summit Temple, look at Fantasy. Look at what he's doing. He's playing around it perfectly.
There we see. Mitigating a lot of damage in that scenario.
Yep. And now he actually can deal with these followers with yet another Sybil and then gain some of his defense back and then push into a late game that's a little bit more comfortable for him. But as you notice, like we were talking about, Dragon has to use a lot more evolution orbs early in order to stay in the game these days. So these late game cards have to be able to win without evolution orbs a lot of the time.
He just goes for the ramp here. Doesn't commit another body. He's going to leave basically the 1/1 on the board here.
That's right. And Leca being on the draw here kind of hurts because he is playing a Heavenly Aegis deck, right? Whether it be with Aether of the White Wing or just playing it out, he's got to wait until his turn 9 to do it, which is a little bit slower just in the natural order of things, except Fantasy is, of course, playing ramp, so it's going to be even slower. Can he get that Aegis out before Fantasy can close the door?
A lot of people were talking about the Sahakuil and Israfil combo as being much more high value, I think, relative to everything else that's happening around the game.
Sure.
Sahakuil Israfil seems to be kind of the main draw of kind of transferring out of the mid game for a lot of these Dragoncraft decks, and we can see exactly why that is.
Forget that. Look at this. Look at this right here. Look at this.
Oh my God, the Heavenly Knight.
Ward. Oh, taste it.
My God.
If another one is top decked and Fantasy does not either gain more defense here or play this Bahamut, he could just lose. Now, in saying that, another Summit Temple with another Heavenly Knight could just end the game. That's like a new power that Havencraft has access to now.
Every turn you get delayed here, too, means another turn where you can do Aegis and you're still holding your Evolve Orb, which means Aegis Evolve is like the perfect scenario.
That's right.
Because not only do you still gain back a little bit of that tempo that you might lose from just dropping an Aegis, but you also improve its damage value.
This is why I love Gemstone Carapace so much. It's because it puts such a big follower in play at such an early point in the game that you don't really have to use your Evolution Orbs as much as you'd have to. Like, against Shadow, maybe that's a little different because you want to use your Evolution Orbs on Priest of the Cudgels that get that active banish effect. But in just a straight-up mid-range battle, you just have bigger followers than your opponent most of the time.
All right, Fantasy.
Wow.
I think Fantasy identifies that he wants to make a big tempo play so that it's much more difficult to justify throwing down the Aegis, but
this is an awesome play. We've seen all of our Dragon players make this. You know what? I'm kind of behind. I kind of don't have the time to do this. I find this one weakness in whatever deck I'm playing against and just go for it.
Yeah.
Just discarding everything to do so.
Everything above 3 defense, so Blackened Scripture, not yet employable.
Ooh.
That
was a really good play. That was a really good play.
I mean, this is Fantasy just flexing, right? Fiercely fighting against Leca.
That's right, but Leca's going to go for it. This is going to take out the Israfil, and there's going to be 11 damage left. Can Fantasy top deck and end the game here?
Oh, boy.
All right, Fantasy, get your hanger out. Where's it at, man? You need your good luck charm.
Oh,
I don't see it.
Oh, God. Ooh. Oh, no, it's useless.
Still has time-ish.
Okay, 3 more damage. Heavenly Knight?
Oh, my goodness. Dark John is in hand, so that's 2 more damage.
That's right.
Not quite there yet, though.
If only Dark John hit face. How would you feel about that? I think a lot of people would be real mad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dark John hit face. Yeah, get out of here. Yeah, you're Rainy. Now, the real question is...
Hey, if Rainy was designing Shadowverse...
That's fair.
That's what Rainy would do.
Just make everyone
I would just... 6 play points, you don't need an Earth Sigil. It just does 1 less damage than Master Major Levi. It's fair.
It's fair.
It's fair.
And it pumps all your guys.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's fair.
Yeah, it's fair.
It pumps their guys, too.
So the real question here, I don't know how many Aegis Leca is running. So maybe that's why he's not playing the Aether here, because Aether pulling a Heavenly Knight here feels
Aegis.
really good because it would block a Storm Follower that Fantasy could draw. But it looks like there's probably another Aegis in deck by the way that he's playing this.
Scyther.
Ooh! Rush, not Storm.
Fantasy, hands on the head. Didn't quite make it happen. And this is, I feel like this is a direct translation of the awkward early turns that Dragoncraft now has to deal with, right? I think prior to this, their early turns were so much more solid, right? There was not
so much more solid.
There was a lot more consistency. There were ways to buy yourself back out of scenarios that were even more dangerous.
This game's technically not over yet, though. Technically not over. I want to see... Ooh. Okay.
Oh, boy.
You have to play that Grimnir. You have to put a ward up. Gotta do it.
Yeah.
Gotta do it.
Yeah.
I think you Dark John, get the 2 extra damage in just because why not? And then you play your 3-drop, get that ward out. Okay, this works too.
He's going to pull another Aegis?
Yep. So, oh, no, it is a Heavenly Knight.
Wow.
Why didn't he do that last turn? That left him open for a turn. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. But now I think, unless there's an Orbostron.
Oh, are you kidding? It was the next card over. Just do a double lift. Why could you not have just double lifted it?
That was an intense end of the game there. Leca, so Leca is playing 1 Aegis, but left himself open for that 1 turn, and that's all it takes.
And you know what? I mean, Fantasy did end up taking the loss here, but what a turn he did calling out on the Dreadsea. that was a huge play that gave him such an opportunity to win the match, and he was one card away from doing it.
That's right. See, one of the things is, like, Dragon, this big endgame terror, I guess is a pretty big endgame terror. Dragon can't really outvalue and work around Aegis. It has to just win through it. And you can't do that by grinding it out because you can't kill it. So you have to do something other than that. And I think his strategy was great.
So we'll see round 2, and Fantasy says, let's go to the mirror.
Yes. So one thing I actually want to point out, I don't know if this is for every player that's going to make it into top 8, but what we've noticed about the Shadow decks, guys, everyone's taking Ceres out of their deck.
Why is that?
Why is that?
Why is that?
Why
Do you
is
not
that?
want to see Ceres be defeated? Is that why you don't want to see the card removed from the board? So you're saying, hey, Ceres, we'll protect you. Don't worry about it. We'll go to battle.
It's just interesting to me. Like, for me, I can understand if I'm thinking, on the play, what's the best curve possible? Ceres is not included in that. It's Prince Catacomb, Skull Ring, Lurching Corpse, or some other 2-drop, and a Goblin on turn 1. However, what happens when you're on the draw? How do you win when you're on the draw when you've taken Ceres out of your deck? I feel like you put yourself at such a disadvantage without using this card, especially against decks like Burn Rune. Like, it's one of the best cards against it. Even the Mirror match in Shadow, how do you win going second when you don't play cards like Ceres? Odile's very good, but that's super late.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not down fast enough. So it's very interesting to see how these Shadow decks will play out without including Ceres in them.
And we're already starting to see that. I mean, on the draw, Fantasy is having to play catch-up. And especially with Leca, I like the inclusion of Kai'Sa. I think the carrot provides just, even if you have just a little bit of it, right? You don't need to fill your deck up with it.
Well, it's like the missing piece, right? Like, what happened to all the 3-drops that Shadowcraft used to play? Now you're playing Skull Ring. What else do you play?
Yeah.
Meh?
Put a carrot in there.
Yeah, put a carrot in there.
If you
it's good
took
value.
that approach, by the way, to cooking, I don't know if you would have as much success.
I disagree. If you added carrots to everything, your life would be so much better.
Yeah?
Carrots taste great in everything. Put it in your spaghetti sauce. Tell me what you think afterwards.
Carrot spaghetti?
Yep, carrot spaghetti.
I ain't touching that one.
Now,
you won't catch me touching that one.
Yeah, I don't know, but just do it, okay? Just do it. Carrots are great. So it looks like Fantasy's going to go in to the draw tank, see what he gets here. Not the optimal lines of play that you'd want to see.
Yeah. The draw options, too. I mean, we can talk about that in rotation. Somewhat less powerful than it used to be.
Yes.
For Shadow. And still a kind of defining feature of Shadowcraft games, I feel, is that card advantage.
It's how many Demon Eaters do you draw now? Can you get an Andrialphus early enough to evolve with it? The cool thing is with Skull Ring, you can actually play your Andrialphus fairly early and still get it back for your evolution turn with the Skull Ring. So I think Skull Ring is probably one of the best new additions that Shadow got outside of, of course, Ayesha. We'll get to that card. We're not going to talk about that card yet, but
don't say the name.
Yeah, just don't whisper her name.
Yeah. Or else she's coming to slap you twice. Prince Catacomb, my good friend, how we have missed you. We could not get rid of you.
That's right. It got adjusted.
Tried. Hey,
got adjusted from 3 to 4.
Smart businessman. I said when he first got changed, if there's the demand, right, raise your price.
Yeah, that's right.
And he did, and everyone's still like, okay, I'll buy
pay
that.
it. Yeah, I'll pay for that. That's good. I mean, Prince Catacomb, what does it do, right? It presents a board and then a secondary board after your first one's dealt with. There's not really too many better effects in the early game than that.
We talked about this, the early turn Aisha plays, kind of getting value off of a end game card in a situation where you identify, hey, I would rather gain an early turn. That flexibility, right? I think it's shown in cards like Grimner. I think Aisha is one of them.
Yep.
These are great inclusions in your deck.
Great inclusions. So I guess we'll talk about Aisha now. What you saw there on Evolve can attack twice, and it's a 5/4, doesn't get any stats. However, if you have 10 shadows and enhance it for 10, we're talking about dual attack because it'll evolve off of half of it, and then the other half of it will give it Storm.
Yep.
And then you attack for 10 damage to end the game.
Yeah.
That's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. Now in those scenarios where that Immortal Thane has his homeboys throwing spaghetti at you, all of a sudden,
Throwing
you take
carrot
one
spaghetti.
too many morsels of spaghetti.
That's right.
And then Aisha comes in and gives you the double slap to end the game.
That's right. It means that Shadowcraft can actually play what it's always wanted to play, this super attrition-based game, and now it has an Albert-like card to actually finish out the game, and you're not reliant on damage from Ektar or the 1-2 pings from a white. You now have an actual endgame to just push.
Yeah. Which really was, I keep kind of thinking about the phrase you used to describe Shadowcraft during the World Grand Prix. And you said, really, they play the value game now.
Yep.
Right? And that has never been more true. I think Shadowcraft has kind of formed and morphed into that over the course of a few expansions. And now they're trying to throw back a little more oomph, and I think that definitely is one of the highlights of the new cards that was brought in this expansion here for Shadow.
That's right, and I feel like that's the way they're going with a lot of classes these days. If you guys are familiar with Portalcraft and how it plays out, if you guys are familiar with Dragon and how it plays out now, it's all about just dealing with the board, presenting a board, dealing with the board, presenting the board, and then maybe having an endgame threat that can just close it out. Dragon doesn't have those flexible mid-game endgame. It's you have to get to your endgame to win, and we've been seeing that, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have the flexibility. Sybil's the only flexible card, but Sybil's not going to end the game for you also. It's not like an Aisha that has dual purpose.
Yes, the Ceres, right? Or the Sybil.
The Sybil. Yeah, the Sybil's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Sybil.
Sybil?
Yeah, Sybil. It doesn't have the dual purpose. You can't win the game with it and have the mid game with it. Yeah.
Correct. Okay, I didn't make the leap to Dragon Craft.
Yeah. Sorry.
There he is, the Headless Horseman. Ektar comes through and wipes the board with the amount of things he generates. 2 zombies, plus giving rush to all the followers, still continuing to demonstrate how much he provides.
Doing exactly what Shadowcraft does, and that's clear board, present a board. And we're going to see it come right back here.
Here's why I really like Carrot in the deck, because sometimes adding in that additional 2/2 and always having that option means you give Ektar constantly the option to play rush, right?
There's an added benefit that I think a lot of people might not know, and I would not really suggest playing 3 Kaisas. Playing 2 is good, but we see 3 in Leca's deck. The really good thing it does is if you're playing against Dragon, and almost everybody's playing Dragon, if you have 2 carrots in your hand, it makes it very hard in the endgame for Bahamut's to attack. You have to actually just be able to clear them turn after turn for Bahamut's to attack, so it gives you this attrition-y endgame even against Dragon, which is really nice.
Okay, so we are at this point where the card advantage is certainly in Leca's favor.
Absolutely.
Right? But we have a big swing card on the side of Fantasy in Odal, which, if the board state is not set up correctly, I feel like could really actually hurt Leca here, depending on what he does.
That's right. Like if he wants to fill up the entire board here, that would give a free Odile. Free meaning Odile presents an Odette for your opponent, and usually you have to use the now evolved form of Odile in order to take out that Odette to take out everything else in play.
Yeah.
But if the board's full, Odette banished.
Yep. Banished to the Nether Realm.
That's right.
And then Odile is free to run wild. And so he does fill up the board. Let's see if he trades with a zombie, which I think do it. I mean, come on.
This is the weird part, right? So we're in a place where Leca does have an Aisha, does have technically 10 damage sitting in hand, but Fantasy's still at 19.
Yeah. Okay, now we're going to wait for about an hour while these guys...
Spaghetti!
Stop throwing your food! Act like civilized human beings for once.
They're not human beings. They're whites.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't know how to be civilized.
You are correct. Okay, I think this is definitely still the better move, right?
Yeah, gotta do it. And the Belinus on
the
Thane here. Let's see what it does. Or he might just go face. He is.
Yeah. I mean, it's very difficult to wipe the board and still, you have to consider the whites.
Okay.
You have to...
Yeah.
I do like that. And you're not at 10, right? So you know that there's no double slap coming up.
We're also playing for the end game, much like we saw Fantasy do with his Dragoncraft deck. Just kind of put it all out there and give myself the option to now come back in the game.
Oh, no! It got the white!
And win the game with the top deck Aisha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. Bad spot for Leca here.
Yes, it is. No more Ektars. No more Thanes.
Probably...
I think the Aisha's just going to have to come
the
out.
Aisha, yeah.
Yeah.
You can protect yourself with a ward afterwards. Oh, but you
can't.
You can't because it
Well,
will automatically
you can, but
consume
the
your
Aisha will die.
necromancy.
The Aisha will die. So you will get the 4th shadow that you need to protect yourself. It's just, does he really want to throw his Aisha away? If he throws his Aisha away here, really, how is he winning, right? Like, this is a rough spot for Leca here.
He might go for the one swing Aisha. Or no, he'll always have the... Oh, interesting.
Okay, just trying to set up a board.
Yeah, he doesn't... Okay, so he maintains. He keeps his win condition in his hand, which I think is very important, right? Because if you're going to throw it away, you may as well just lose.
That's right. That's right. Now, not playing the other carrot, like I think Leca played the Prince Catacomb properly. You don't want to fill up your entire board.
Interesting.
Oh,
so he's going to have to run a bunch.
Ooh, okay. So Leca being board positive and saying, you know, I don't want to let that O-dial get free advantage, but it's not going to be good enough. And I want to point out that Fantasy was on the draw this game without Saris. So you know what? Maybe we just don't know what we're talking about, and you don't need Saris even to win in the mirror on the draw.
Yeah, and I think Fantasy doing very well for himself. In Shadowcraft games, I mean, that looks very different than Shadowcraft games previously, right?
Yeah.
I think there's... Previously, it was just everybody's eating up their own followers, just kind of picking up their deck by the fistful and just, like, dropping it into their hand, right?
Yeah. How many turns did we actually just see proactive plays of not trading and getting the damage in and then forcing your opponent to trade or make their reactions? We saw a lot of non-trading at the end of that game, actually.
Whereas Shadowcraft previously was just about swinging, right?
Yeah.
You push, I push, we're going to swing this swing. And we'll see who kind of flies into the air when it just flings you off. That was Shadowcraft mirror matches.
That's right. So let's talk a little bit about Ramp Dragoncraft as it is today against mid-range Shadowcraft today, okay?
Yep.
A lot of things are the same. However, I think Shadowcraft has gained a huge advantage against Dragoncraft with the ability to just on-curve play against the just more Dragon has to do in the early game.
Yeah, Dragoncraft certainly, as we talked about, does not have quite as impactful of an early game as it did before. And I think Shadowcraft, for the most part, maintains a fairly even amount of strength across the game state.
Yes. The only time, and actually this doesn't just go for the Dragoncraft matchup, but if Shadowcraft doesn't really curve properly, what I mean by that is it doesn't hit its 2-drop, or it doesn't hit its 3-drop, or it misses turn 4, like, it starts to get real funky after that.
Yeah. I would certainly agree, especially because if you want to be coming back into things, and you have what you want to be doing in Andrew Alpha's Evolve, but that guy is, you know, he probably could break a gummy bear, but beyond that...
Right. It's still one of the most board-positive plays you want to make in Shadow, and just because it gives you the lacking soul conversion draw power that the deck used to have. Like, yes, you might not have to, or you might not get as much damage out of an Evolution Orb as you normally would, but now every card in your hand is half of a soul conversion, and you don't actually have to spend any play points to get the card advantage out of it. It's great.
Look at this guy! You're at 8 play points! Your buddy's still at 4!
Now he's at 9.
Are you playing the same game? Fantasy started playing before Leca did. It's like, let's just continue from here.
Yeah.
I'm already at 8 play points. You can be at 4.
Now, that is to say that Ayala does have one downside. You have to use the Evolution Orbs. It does have one upside. It's cheaper. You can do more with it and faster.
Yes. We'll see. Going up to play point 10, I mean, to me, that feels very comfortable as a Dragoncraft player because you know, hey, I mean, how ridiculous is this? Even if you played a Death's Breath or something like that, right? You could just blow it all up instantly.
Now, the one downside, though, Fantasy did ramp, and this is what I kind of noticed with Ramp Dragon I play it a lot on ladder. A lot of times when you go up this high, this fast, you don't have the Bahamut's in hand. You don't have the Zeus's. Yeah, because you haven't been drawing cards. You have all of the ramp and not endgame instead. So Fantasy, while getting to 10 play points this fast, doesn't really have anything to do with it. I mean, he's got some healing, he's got some life gain, he's got some board clear. But is it going to be enough to actually propel him into a win before Shadowcraft can get some damage in and get that Aisha going?
Yeah. Hey, says no, does not want any bony business here.
No skellies.
Yeah, no skellies. Spook level at the minimum. And just uses the Scyther to clear out a skeleton.
I mean, do what you can. You know what I mean? Like, make it so you have no options.
Yeah. Skeleton Prince has become a very popular card for Shadowcraft.
Yep, Death's Breath being gone, O-Dial being a good reactive play. What can you do proactively on 6 play points these days? Skeleton Prince finds a nice little niche.
Which is actually interesting because the 5 play point, 6 play point territory is something that we talked about a lot for Shadowcraft, right? That balance, I think, really made or broke a lot of games for these players in tournaments. So Skeleton Prince kind of being a new tenant for the area, I think is.
That's right. Plus, it's 4 shadows. I mean, you get 4 shadows off of it. You get board presence. It kind of has a Prince Catacomb effect built in, right? That's kind of what it does. It's just really good. It's a solid card. You're not going to see 3 of it in a deck. You know what I mean? It's not one of those cards you just want to draw and play every single turn, but it's definitely a good option.
Yeah. Just gonna leave that be. So spooky skeletons remain. Oh yeah.
I like this. This is a full damage play. Let me get as much damage in as I can.
And clear out the Sybil.
Yep. I'm pretty sure we're going to see an evolution orb to the face.
Oh,
yes,
boy.
sir.
The Skeleton Knight made money.
And still a Skelly left over if the board's wiped. However, we know in Fantasy's hand he doesn't have anything to do that with yet.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I really like this. I think this is very much a race to see how much healing can Fantasy get before Leca gets to that 10 play point territory. Or if there's any kind of big white combo Ector thing that's going to happen. Now, we know, looking at the hand of Leca, that he's going to need to draw into a bunch of options if he wants that.
To be fair, though, I think all that needs to happen is Leca needs to find some way to kind of like mind power Fantasy into not playing any healing for the next 2 turns. And then Aisha just wins the game. I think that could just happen. However, I don't think Fantasy's, unaware of Aisha. I mean, he plays the deck himself. So, and I think Leca actually just forced it out right now. I think this is the play. Oh. Ooh. Now he's got more options.
Interesting.
I keep saying Fantasy doesn't have it, but he keeps top decking it. Like he top decked the Israfil last turn, now he top decked the Bahamut.
Yeah.
He's fully back into this game now. Just a couple draws here and there. All right, Dragon, let's go.
Fantasy is living the dream.
Now it's just a matter of how does he want to do this? Oh, he's just gonna go for it again. Wow.
Okay. So would you? Oh, interesting.
Wow. So he's gonna evo the Israfil here. I have to imagine.
He's got maximum healing in this play.
Yep.
Evo the Israfil. That's gonna wipe a good majority of the board, and get 4 face damage.
So forget what I said about not playing the Israfil. He's not only going to play the Israfil, he's going to dump his whole hand so he can play a Sybil on the same turn and present this crazy board.
How do you go over this?
I mean, he's got the carrot. He's got the... We've seen this play already from Leca. He's got the Ektar.
But the Israfil's going to stay.
Something's going to stay.
You're just wrecked.
Wrecked.
Fantasy, why are you so good?
No, this clears everything except for the 7/7, or he can actually do it a couple ways. He has to get the Israfil off the table. The Israfil is the first must kill.
Right. He has the evolution orb.
He does have the evolution orb. This will finish it off, and this will clear out the other 4/4s and leave the 7/7. Now, as we've seen before, Fantasy put himself in the situation. We can see him praying here. He really wants to top deck something. He's put himself into the position to draw even a Zeus to win here.
So there's not the shadows to store.
Oh, not a bad option, though. And he put himself at 17.
He
so
doesn't
far
have
to reach
the
Aisha.
shadow to Aisha. And there's no way to generate it and still have some play points.
Oh, and this is a perfect play. Leca's going to use this carrot for the Necro Assassin, keep the Lurching Corpse in play for specifically Bahamut and Israfil plays.
And then carrot again.
Yeah, carrot's so good.
I mean, the synergy. The fact that you always have a cheap follower in hand is actually so strong for Shadowcraft. Okay, he wants the Skelly boy.
This works.
Oh God!
Did he play the Bahamut though? This is
so I think you need to minimize damage to face, right? Because Aisha could come in and do a lot of damage.
That's right.
1, 2. He's got 12 damage here.
Ever-present danger.
But do you want... I don't think you play it, right? You just build out your board and continue to chip.
If you use the Aisha too early, it's kind of like doing the whole Queen of the Dread Sea play, right?
Yeah.
You're just hoping to draw something after that.
Yeah.
And I don't think Leca's in the position that he needs to do that quite yet.
Fantasy.
Oh,
okay, he's got card draw.
He does have card draw. Now what you want to see?
One more time.
This will be game if he can't get something.
Ah, no!
I think, unless he gets a Scyther here. Ah!
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
And this.
Hey, I like the flair still of dropping the Dread Sea.
Yeah.
But it was a very strong board. The one evolution orb really tipped that scale.
And we can see the emotions riding high on Fantasy right now. Fantasy, take a deep breath. You're just going to loser's bracket, okay? You're not out of it yet, my friend.
Still have a ways to go. But Fantasy taking the loss there. You know, let's think about that a little bit, right? In terms of where you kind of